Hello and welcome to my first video. Today we will race in the Tour de Zwift Stage 2. Sadly, in the actual Cat A race were only 6 participants. Therefore, I will try my best in the group ride. With about 200 participants, the chances are high that some are willing to race. Looking at the profile of the stage, it is rather flat with a rolling hill section in the beginning. The last 2.5 kilometers are almost only uphill. However, most of it is draftable. The race will be decided there most likely. After less than 1 kilometer, 6 riders are in the front. Since there are some inclines, we managed to get away from the main group. Even though the majority of the coming race is flat, some people in this group push relatively hard. I try to stay in the draft as good as possible. With the first sprint coming up, I take my turn at the front to give the other riders some draft. In addition, I get to see who can follow me and where a gap might appear. Again, I am at the front for about a minute to keep up the pace. After I am done, I move to the right to let others pass. This time, Burkhardt takes over at the front. The other riders leave a gap, however. During the next few kilometers, Burkhardt keeps a steady pace and the gap widens. None of us try to close the gap. Usually, in a race like this, the last climb decides the race. Since Burkhardt is not pushing too hard and still gains on us, I get worried that he might start the climb with too much of a head start. I decide to try and bridge the gap just before the next sprint segment. This allows me to use my draft power up and I get an additional power up at the banner. It is important to make sure that all other riders also need to use up a lot of energy when trying to follow me, so I push very hard. The gap at this point is about 15 seconds. I usually prefer a gap of 10 seconds since I know that I can keep up power for this time. 15 seconds is a gamble. I hardly managed to close the gap, but only because Burkhardt slowed down. None of the other riders could follow me, but they keep up the pace and eventually managed to get back to us. Even though we did not manage to get a breakaway, the effort to try to follow Burkhardt was still worth it. Otherwise, maybe none of the other riders would have made a move and Burkhardt would have won uncontested. As is usually the case with this climb, the beginning is very slow. Everybody tries to stay in the draft of the other riders. Once the road gets steeper, I try to push the pace to thin out the group. This leaves Burkhardt, Meinert and me. On this flatter section, Burkhardt uses the aero power-up and tries to get a gap. I have to react and stay in his draft. It was good timing on his side, since I just went quite hard. Still, I managed to hold onto his wheel. On this climb, it is always very challenging for me to pick the right time to go for the final sprint. Since Burkhardt has just attacked, I feel confident that I have a good chance to beat him. But I don't know what Meinert is capable of. Still, I try to delay the sprint as much as I can, but I still go way too early. I got lucky and caught the other two off guard. Even though I could not hold the power, it was still enough to be the first to get over the line. Sadly, it was just a group ride, so there's no actual winner. It still was a very nice race with a surprising amount of attacks. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you on Zwift.